I became a Muslim in 1984. I was born a Protestant Catholic, my brother is an atheist, and I became a born-again Christian and followed the Baptist religion. So when I when I met my husband, we were talking about religion and I was trying to convert him to Christianity. And some of the things that he was saying and I was saying his answers were more logical than mine. And so I decided I would investigate more so that I could persuade him. So I phoned up the mosque in London and asked for a Quran and some booklets and things, and they were very, very kind. And I read them in the hope of converting my husband to Christianity. When I read the books, the answers in there were much more logical, and deep down I felt that these were the answers I'd always been looking for. So converting to Islam was not an easy decision, because nobody changes religion for somebody else. I thought long and hard, and eventually I went to him and I said, I want to become a Muslim, and he was completely shocked.
I converted about 15 years ago, and it was a very easy process. For me, it was just a choice that I made because I didn't grow up with any religion really, and I learned a little bit about Islam in high school, and I found it really interesting. So when I was 19, a friend gave me a book that was just the basics about Islam, and when I read it, everything just felt really like right. That was what I was supposed to be following my whole life.
At the point in my life where I came across Islam, I was in college and I studied abroad and stayed with a Muslim family, and then I took a course on religion and international affairs and got to write a paper about it. So it was both an intellectual journey as well as a spiritual one. I always had a lot of questions about religion, and Islam just answered them all for me. And it gave me a fresh start, a clean slate, and it was the right decision for me.
My family weren't really upset about it, because they thought it was just another phase I was going to go through. When I wore the hijab, it was a little bit more difficult because it was more in their faces. They could see I was definitely a Muslim. There was no question about it. I've never regretted my decision. My uncles and I lost touch mainly because of different family reasons, and that, being married to a foreigner wasn't very popular in those days, especially in the area that I live in. When my mother died, I met my uncles and reconnected with my cousins, and all of them said, "Oh, we're very surprised, you're very nice, can we come and see you again, can we keep in touch?" And I've kept in touch with my cousins and my uncles from then on. So it's been a positive experience.
When I first converted, my parents were really cool. My whole family have always been really cool about it. The only problem that my dad was worried was if I started to cover, which I did. He was worried that somebody might hurt me because I looked different, and it was right after 9/11, and so he was just worried for my safety. But they were always and always have been very accepting and loving and understanding and very open-minded.
My family was a bit hesitant at first, particularly regarding women in Islam and their role. I had to explain a lot about that and about why I was making this decision, and they were just wanting to make sure that it was really something that was going to be good for me. But I remember my mom saying that she was happy that I had a religion, that was better than no religion at all, and that she would support me. And they've really been great over the years, even if they don't necessarily understand everything about it or why I make the choices I make. They respect it, and they've done a lot to learn about it, and I really couldn't ask for anything more than that.
I think my favourite thing about Islam is that I noticed when I took my daughter to England with me, we wore the hijab and we walked around normally, and she would say, "Do you know that woman? She smiled at you. Do you know that woman? She smiled at you." They were all women wearing hijab, and it was like we were part of a secret club, that you automatically see somebody in a hijab, and it's nice to see somebody else that's wearing like you and has the same values. So I can honestly say that my favourite part of being a Muslim is the comradeship and the feeling that everybody else is equal, and everybody else, no matter where you come from and where you go, you're all Muslims. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter where you originated from.
Equality. Everybody is equal in the eyes of Allah. In Islam, there's no differentiation between who's rich or who's poor, and you know, everybody goes to the same place in the end, inshallah, if you do the right thing.
It's hard to choose just one favorite thing about Islam. That's a tough question, but what I would say is that I think it's the peace that it's brought me. It's the ability to look beyond myself and my daily problems to something that's greater than that. I think that's really helped me a lot in my life, and it's also helped me as a mother to have some more distinct direction in what kind of values I should be trying to instill in my children, so that they can be successful both in this life and the next.